Hello everyone, I'm Rupam, founder and CEO of Achille Labs Private Limited, creator of Life First, and author of the book Intimacy Lost for Man, The Birth of the Lugal, and welcome you all to yet another episode, the episode number 24 of Intimacy Loss Educational Series. And this episode is also going to be a very fascinating episode for all of you male students and male learners, men. And in this episode, we are particularly going to talk about the male mood swings. And this is going to be a very fascinating episode where you'll be learning about stress, sex, emotions, and a lot of other factors that possibly you might not have known. And we are also going to talk about envy. We are also going to talk about hate. We are also going to talk about competition. And that's exactly, in order to give you the overall understanding of your mood. And we know already that psychosexually, males are completely different from females, as well as even in the males group. Men are completely different from the guys. Boys are completely different from the guys. So let's get started. What is a mood swing? We already know mood swing is the neurochemical state of the mood, is the neurochemical state of the brain which is generated through different neurochemicals after the brain senses the physiological state of the body. The physiological state of the body is nothing but hormones, chemicals, and electrical signals. And in general, moods are a spectrum. Very low mood, very low mood, exceptionally low mood, good mood, high mood, very good mood, exceptionally good mood. And based on these mood levels, these are the mood levels which is based on particularly hormone dopamine. There are other hormones also, but this is what specifically drives the mood. And mood regulates the energy. So in a very low mood, you have a very low energy and low metabolic rate. When your mood is higher, you have a high mood and high metabolic rate, high energy. You can work harder. So mood becomes very important for men because men generally do not talk about their mood. It's that they kind of keep it in themselves. This is least talk about areas, because it is expected that the females will have a lot of mood swings, mood variations, but generally men should have a very stable mood. However, that doesn't happen. And because mood regulates your energy, because there is a mood swing, because there are different level of mood, the performance of man in every area of his life very significantly based on his mood. Therefore, the success of life, the ability of the brain to comprehend the world, the ability to fight, ability to compete, and all such abilities in men exceptionally depend upon the mood, and therefore it is extremely important for you to understand the mood. So we know that mood is nothing but very high to very low level. The dopamine variation, when you are very high, the dopamine is high, your brain functions very well, neuroplasticity is good, you can learn well, you are feeling aesthetic. And when the mood is very low, there is no dopamine absolutely in the body, and the brain kind of has a brain fog, memory goes down, all such things, right? So and body tries to maintain the mood just above the higher level. Now we also know that because mood is something that regulates the energy, and Estrogen is our energy storage hormone, along with insulin, and therefore estrogen is generally considered as a mood regulating hormone. Well, why men have mood swing? So in general, the amount of testosterone that a man has versus the amount of estrogen man has is exceedingly higher ratio. So man has exceedingly higher testosterone level and low estrogen level. So when this ratio gets too higher or the ratio collapse, then there is a mood swing. So if testosterone increases significantly, estrogen comes down. Or if the estrogen rises, testosterone comes down. All of this varies the mood. So how exactly the mood balances in men? So of course, you know that the brain will always try to balance the mood so that you can feel the things, because it's important for men also to feel. If you do not feel what you are doing, then probably over a period of time your brain will stop performing as good as it should in order to give you the victories that you desire, that the goals that you are chasing, the aim that you have. And so what is this average level? The average level of men's mood is when the testosterone is at the lower half and the estrogen is at the upper half. So which means that if you have this as testosterone level and this as estrogen level, when they're like this, when the testosterone falls and estrogen increases, that's what keeps the mood balance. However, you cannot remain in that stage ever. So what men's brain seek is the mood to come down to the normalcy and then to go higher and then finally to come down. That's how it works. Flat, go high, because if it doesn't go high, your energy is not going to go higher in the day and you cannot perform. So it has to go high in the day and then it has to fall down at the very low, and then it has to come down to balance. So your mood is supposed to be like this. In the day it should go high, then it should come down, very down, and then from there it should come down to normalcy. So how it happens when testosterone falls? Well, testosterone follows a cycle in men. What is that cycle? So the testosterone follows a daily cycle in men. Now it increases in the morning. Let's say your sunrise to sunset, you take a day. So just an hour or 2 hours before the sunrise, it starts rising, and then it falls to the minimum 1 to 2 hours after your sunset. So testosterone remains highest during 12 o'clock. It's around that time when in the afternoon, 12 o'clock, that's the time when your testosterone is highest. So from morning sunrise, an hour or 2 hours before the sunrise, it starts rising, and then in the evening it falls after the sunset. So that's called the circadian rhythm. Our body has got clocks. There is an Asian gland, it senses the sunlight, and based on that it adjusts everything in the body. The reason testosterone increases in the day is traditionally we have been hunters. So as the sun rises, men went out to hunt, and even in the early agricultural society, it is early in the morning that men will get up and they'll go for the agriculture. So testosterone is between morning sunrise to evening sunset. That's the highest. All right. So when the testosterone is high, Of course, the man will be more energetic because testosterone increases your metabolic rate. It supplies more energy to your muscles. It supplies more oxygen to your muscles. So man becomes in the sympathetic dominance mode. So man goes into the sympathetic dominance mode. We already know that we have an autonomic nervous system that controls all the organs. It has got two branches, the sympathetic branch and the parasympathetic branch. The parasympathetic branch is responsible for rest and recovery, and the sympathetic branch is responsible for work energy. So testosterone increases the sympathetic activity, heart rate gets increased, blood pressure gets increased. Therefore, morning blood pressure of men will be higher. Morning heart rate of men will be higher because this is the time when the testosterone is increases, and there is nothing to be worried about because that's when your body is preparing yourself to go out and hunt, to start the day. And up to 12 o'clock, it is going to take the peak and then slowly it falls down. So that's how testosterone cycle is. So testosterone is for the sympathetic dominance. Now, a lot of people says, go and push yourself into the gym and increase the testosterone. Look, it's a cycle. Testosterone is a cycle. It's called the circadian cycle of testosterone. Irrespective of how much gym you do, whatever you do, you have to maintain this cycle because let's say you go to the gym in the evening and you increase the testosterone. You are essentially destroying your body because body expects the testosterone to come down to the lowest level after the sunset because testosterone increases the metabolic rate. High metabolic rate causes higher aging, so the body is functioning in the accelerated mode, and therefore testosterone has to come down for all the processes of the male body to come down. Now, those men who does a lot of business deals in the evening, men who work late night, men who work after 6 p.m. in the evening, that is after the sunset, in order for you to have that energy, your body has to maintain a high testosterone levels. Alright, your body has to have a high testosterone level. So for example, you are giving a presentation in the evening. For example, you are working in a software project or any other project after the sunset. That is the time when your body expects you to bring down the testosterone level because it has worked very hard. If you don't do that, if a man works after the sunset, the testosterone level doesn't fall down. Metabolic rate doesn't come down. The body generates very high energy. So that is the time when a man's body starts aging faster. That's when the mood starts coming down. So the first reason for men's mood to come down is when the testosterone doesn't fall when it is supposed to fall, because body doesn't want to work more than it can handle. Alright, testosterone increases your metabolic rate, your energy regulation in the body, and that has to come down because it's a sympathetic dominance mode. Your body is working at a higher heart rate level, let's say heart rate level of 80 or 90, and then that has to fall down. When the testosterone doesn't fall down, that is the number one cause for the mood to change, because that time brain cannot generate dopamine, brain cannot feel happy, brain is not getting the time because your body has moved entire day. Now it is time for the brain, but the brain operates at a lower energy. Look, your brain is only 3% of your body mass, right? But it consumes about 30% of your energy. Now when you are in the sympathetic mode, your entire body requires more energy. Even if you are sitting and working in a chair, your muscles, your back muscles, your body, it requires more energy. So brain takes a hit, brain kind of compromises, and then in the evening brain expects that the body will slow down and it is going to get the energy. If it doesn't get the energy, brain gets depressed because it has to function, and in the day it generally lowers down its energy. It cannot function, and therefore in the evening, if testosterone doesn't fall, metabolic rate doesn't fall, brain cannot function the way it expects itself to function. Number one reason for your mood swing. So if people are telling you that you should rise your testosterone, you should go to gym and push your muscles, don't do that in the evening. After the sunset you should be with yourself. This is absolutely mandatory for the mood, because if you want to keep your health going, in the evening after sunset, 1 hour testosterone has to fall down. You have to get relaxed, come back home, take relaxation. Don't watch televisions, don't watch anything, just relax, just sleep, spend time with yourself. Number one reason. Number two reason, so man has to handle tremendous amount of stress. Yeah, there are, traditionally we have been hunters. So when men went to hunting, it's a tremendous amount of stress. It's a physical stress. Understand? It's a physical stress. You have to focus. You have to concentrate. Our ancestors, they had to kill. They had to bring food. Life wasn't easy. So we took a lot of stress. And hormone cortisol prepares us for that stress. Testosterone increases the metabolic rate, helps us to go and hunt, helps us to work more. Hormone cortisol, on the other hand, it prepares man's body to take the stress. It prepares brain to take the stress. It knows that whatever pressure is there, it has to handle. However, just like testosterone, cortisol also varies based on the circadian rhythm of the body. Cortisol has to go high and then it has to come down. Now, how cortisol varies? Cortisol starts increasing to the peak. Little bit earlier than testosterone. So let's say your testosterone starts increasing at 4 a.m. in the morning. Cortisol starts increasing from 3 a.m. So cortisol generally comes little earlier, because when your body is preparing itself to go into the sympathetic dominance mode, just before that cortisol has to release and prepare your body, because with sympathetic dominance is nothing but when your body is expected to work more, when your body is expected to have more energy. Before your body starts overworking, your body needs to be ready, and cortisol readies your body. Therefore, cortisol starts increasing at least an hour earlier from your testosterone level. So then it starts coming down, and it comes down little earlier than your sunset. So that's kind of the cycle you have. So by 8 p.m. your cortisol is also minimum. So essentially 10 a.m. to around 1 p.m. if you take 6 a.m. as the sunrise time kind of. So this is during that time when your cortisol is highest. You can take most stress. Of course, even if you are working some mental work, but there is a stress, if you have evening stress, your body has minimum cortisol then, because your brain is under stress in a situation where body is not ready to handle this stress. Your body has to produce cortisol, increase the cortisol in the evening also. That's the second reason for, that's the second reason, for mood swing, low mood of the brain. Why? Because brain gives you a timeline to take stress. Take as much stress. Brain says take as much stress. 10 to 1, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Take as much stress. I have flooded your body with cortisol, but after that, start bringing down your stress. Now, a lot of your phone calls, a lot of your family talks happens in the evening. And if in your family you do not have the love, if in your family you do not have the acceptance, if in your family in the evening you don't get love, care, then the cortisol doesn't really come down in men, and particularly if you are in a very high stress work, say for example a financial work, it doesn't come down. And if the cortisol doesn't come down, even when your testosterone is low, your body is still in the sympathetic mode, heart rate is higher, your blood pressure is higher, and so you age very faster. Because of this fast aging, your brain kind of start getting depressed, because it doesn't accept the fact that you are increasing the age. Brain expects to live up to the age of 100, and it doesn't enjoy the fact that it is spending 1 day extra in every day. So the second reason for your mood swing is cortisol. The If your cortisol remains higher in the evening, then you have a mood swing. And the problem with cortisol is you don't have infinite amount of cortisol. Now, it often happens that if you're taking stress continuously over a period of time, let's say 2 years, 3 years, your body cannot produce cortisol anymore. And when your body cannot produce sufficient cortisol, the cortisol comes down at a very lower level, your body remains in the sympathetic dominance without its ability to handle that sympathetic dominance. It has a high heart rate, but it doesn't have the internal shield of the cortisol to handle that situation. That's when your brain starts getting very irritated. So you feel very irritated if you are into a stressful work for a very long period of time, let's say 6 months, 9 months, you start feeling extremely irritated. That brings down the mood. So you have to spend cortisol just like a money. You have to be very, very mindful of taking stress. You have to be very, very mindful. Just take the stress between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Your major deals, your meetings, decisions, take up that time and then make the day slower. You fix up 3 to 4 hours in a day at the time when you are going to get your maximum productivity done. 3 to 4 hours is the time when a man's body can really push. That's the maximum time when the body can push, when the body can remain in the sympathetic dominance. And if you are working for more than 3 to 5 hours trying to push your body and brain, that's when your cortisol starts vanishing, bringing down the mood, because it makes you irritated. The man feels very irritated. Brain feels very irritated. It is not getting the dopamine. It is not getting the rest. That's the irritation. Okay. Now, because we know that the testosterone increases the metabolic rate, and cortisol prepares your body to work under the high metabolic rate. Now there is third hormone, which is estrogen. Estrogen is essentially a female reproductive hormone, but which is also present in the men. And estrogen is primarily responsible for your parasympathetic system. So once you work hard, sympathetic mode, of course the parasympathetic system, the rest and recovery system, has to pick up in men, right? Okay, and estrogen is the parasympathetic hormone, which means that estrogen secretion is maximum when you have parasympathetic system. Now, estrogen doesn't follow really diurnal cycle in men. Estrogen doesn't really follow a circadian clock. Estrogen follows a typical cycle. In man, in general, when you feel sexual urge, from that time onwards, it peaks up to the next 30 minutes. So, if you have a sexual urge about a girl, and then within 30 minutes it goes higher and then it falls down. So, 3 hours of estrogen increase. So, man's body has the ability to recover from sympathetic dominance within 3 hours. If you do not have sex in life, there is no sexual life. Essentially, your body doesn't produce, unfortunately, enough estrogen. When you are in close with a girl, right? Just the moment you touch that girl, for next 30 minutes it goes higher, the estrogen goes higher, and then it falls down within 3 hours. So this is the 3 hours where parasympathetic system remains highest in men. It remains highest, and that's the time when growth hormone gets produced, and recovery happens. So sex is not a leisure for men, rather sex is a need for man. You don't have sex even after the testosterone has fallen, your estrogen level is not going higher. Estrogen level going higher is quintessential for your parasympathetic system to function. And if your body doesn't have enough estrogen, then your heartbeat cannot come down. Even in the night, your heartbeat remains very high, 80, 85. Even in the night, your blood pressure remains very high, it just cannot come down. So, lack of sex for a man who is taking extraordinarily stress, extraordinary, career, profession, stress, fight, if you don't have sex, estrogen doesn't increase, parasympathetic doesn't increase, and this 3 hours high estrogen that your body requires to heal doesn't happen. So a girl plays a very extremely important role in your life. If there is no girl, your body is not going to heal, and you are going to have you're going to have cardiac anomalies. This cardiac anomaly, whenever, in the sleep, brain expects your heart to slow down, but your heart rate is beating, your heart is beating at 85, 90, even while you are going to sleep. Imagine what brain will think. It's going to get angry, it's going to get extremely angry, and it's going to get very violent, it's going to get very, very irritated because you have pushed the body. And now you are denying the brain to recover. So if you don't get a sex, find a way to do the sex. This is need. You don't have a treatment for this. You have to find sex and you have to have sex. Alright, this has got nothing to do with the leisure, privilege, nothing. It is your need. And so if you have a family, make sure that you get that sex, because without that your brain is going to remain to be extremely irritated, not irritated, violent, because it's not getting that healing phase, it's not getting that high of estrogen, right? If it doesn't get, and no, by feeling man doesn't get estrogen, unfortunately parasympathetic system, erection of the man is not regulated by testosterone. Yeah? High testosterone in fact causes erectile dysfunction. A lot of people who are exceedingly gene centric, who doesn't really who goes to gym a lot but doesn't have sex as much, may have severe impairment in their genital function, in their function. So erectile dysfunction happens largely when you are building your muscles but not having sex. It's important. So in men, the erection is not driven by the testosterone, it is driven by the estrogen. Okay, parasympathetic system, you require parasympathetic system for this to get hard. So whenever it is getting hard, at that time your estrogen is higher, and that's why after the sex, when you release, when your semen comes out and when it falls, that's the time you feel sleepy. You go to deep sleep. After the sex, you have extraordinary deep sleep because now your brain is filled with dopamine, your brain is filled with estrogen, your memory gets restructured. If you don't have that, if your brain is not getting the estrogen, it's not having enough dopamine either, and therefore you start having problem with your memory. And for a man, memory is an extremely important component. You don't require any health test, you just require to test your memory if you are not able to recall certain incidents completely, and then that is the time you have to know that you have to slow down. All right, so the third reason of mood and anger is when enough amount of testosterone is left behind and not enough estrogen is produced, and lack of sex is one of the core reasons. So this is the biological reason of us having the men having or not having sex. Now for the mood swing, okay, is there any other reasons? As I said, from the evening, if you are taking stress, if you have family quarrels in the evening, a lot of females, they don't understand that just as their body is very very sensitive, a man's body is extremely sensitive, and they pick up all the fights in the evening, which hurts a man's body. His age gets decreased. Come on, when are we going to teach our children to become accountable? As a female, it's not that you are going to get the world in the platter. You have certain accountability, and one of those accountability is to make sure that the man is not dying. And if you pick up the quarrel, and if you cannot give emotions in the evening, if you cannot show a beautiful face, if you cannot give that love, his body doesn't heal. So you play an extremely important role to keep the man alive. You don't do that, he is dead. He is high on testosterone, and high on testosterone man is going to be violent, and he is going to be angry and aggressive on you. Not teaching, not knowing the science, not knowing the core knowledge, not being educated is not right thing in the life. So if you are a man, just after you understood this phenomenon, you have to start demanding. You have to tell, look, from 8 to 10, my body needs emotion. You have to give me that emotion. What is that emotion? That emotion is little care. That emotion is little togetherness. That emotion is touch, because without that my testosterone levels are going to remain higher. When I am going to go to sleep, my blood pressure is going to remain higher. When I go to sleep, my heart rate is going to remain higher, and therefore I will not be able to fall in sleep. And if you cannot have sex, if you do not get that care, then your body is not going to heal. You are going to lose your memory. You are going to lose your executive function, which is prefrontal cortex. Your consciousness will go down. You will feel more and more angry and aggressive, and that's not the mode brain wants to work into. Sleep. Of course, if you don't get sleep, parasympathetic system is underactive, body is not healing. When you get up early in the morning, your body is going to feel very irritated. So why some of you feel irritated in the morning is because in the evening when you come back home after the work, you don't get that peace, you don't get that love, you don't get that care, because the females have stopped being accountable. They don't understand that they have a responsibility. Nobody holds them accountable. You have not held them accountable. You have to become accountable. You just cannot live in this world saying that I have no accountability. No, absolutely no. You are responsible for the death of man, early death of the man. If you are picking up the fights in the evening, you just cannot do that. And over a period of time, that's going to increase their testosterone. They are going to be angry, and then lack of estrogen, because estrogen also drives a man's mood and emotions. A man will stop having any emotions towards you. You will not feel any emotions. You, the females, are responsible for that. It's a biology. It's nothing to be blaming about. It's a biology, right? If a man is not getting estrogen from you, his body doesn't produce estrogen just like you, so you keep estrogen to your man. That's how physiology works. And if you don't give, your man emotionally is not connected with you. Then if he is not emotionally connected with you, he cannot transfer his energy to you, and you are going to feel very, very negative all throughout. That's why females feel negative. So you don't know, nobody has taught you how to be accountable and why you should be with a man. Right? Okay. Sleep. Look, because in the evening, up to 8 p.m., your testosterone and cortisol falls or are expected to fall. You must go to bed early. As a man, you must go to bed early, say 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at max. You must go to bed early. You have to sleep. Your brain has to shut down, your body has to shut down. And if you are not going to sleep, one of the prime reasons for you not going to sleep is because in the evening you are working, in the evening you are picking up the fights, in the evening you are quarreling, in the evening you are not getting love and care, in the evening you are not getting emotions, and therefore you don't get sleep. Now, a man doesn't have a lot of emotion or estrogen. There's a lot of testosterone, so testosterone has to calm down and emotion has to increase. He has to feel that childlike, that vulnerability. That vulnerability is there inside a man. And if you cannot come down to that childish state, which of course that's the whole purpose of intimacy. The female engulfs your masculinity and makes you a child again. You feel like childish. If you don't go back to that state, you just can't have sleep, because your body is still under sympathetic dominance. It's still expecting you to work. And if you do this for 10 years, if you are pushing your body for 10 years, after that there is no coming back. After that there is no coming back. Now your mood stays here, irrespective of what you do. So all the things that made you feel good earlier will stop feeling good. Stop making you feel good. You earn money, you will not feel that money. You buy a house, you will not feel that house. You make a big deal, you will not feel that deal. You will not feel anything because the mood has come down. So that's it. A man stops feeling the things that made him happy. Maybe drinking, maybe travel, everything in his life, everything in your life that made you happy will stop making you happy. That's low mood. So, because if your sleep cycle is disturbed, your circadian clock also is disturbed, your body just cannot understand when to increase the testosterone, when to increase the estrogen. If you get a man start picking up the fight, it doesn't understand. You have to give a time, your productive time that must be fixed, your sleep time that must be fixed. Circadian clock is extremely important for a man. You have to keep the body fit. If you are going to sleep at 1 a.m., good luck. Your mood is never going to come back. You cannot go to sleep at 1 a.m. because your circadian clock varies based on the sunlight. It doesn't vary based on your job profile. It doesn't vary based on your mood. It doesn't vary based on your choices. It varies based on the sunlight. Next is not exposed to sunlight. If your eyes are not watching the change from dark to the sunlight in the morning, and in the evening, if it is not observing the sunlight to come down to the sunset, if your eyes are not experiencing these two changes, then your circadian rhythm is going to be completely lost, because your brain requires this to signal to adjust your circadian clock. Circadian clock is your it drives your metabolism, it drives your hormonal cycle, it drives everything in your life. So if in the evening you are sitting in a cabin working and you don't have access to the sunlight, if your eyes are not experiencing the change in the sunlight, no, your circadian clock is disturbed. Your brain could not pick up when the evening happened. So if you are staying in a closed cabin without the sunlight, without experiencing the variation of sunlight from day to the evening, your night circadian rhythm will be completely lost. Same way, if you are not observing darkness to light, sunrise, then also your circadian daily clock will be impaired. Whenever circadian clock in man is impaired, your testosterone is going to remain to be very high in your body, and high testosterone is high metabolic rate, high energy. But it also means less sleep, very fast aging, very fast tiredness. So your body will be going towards death very fast. Alright? High testosterone takes your body towards growth very fast, and all those no fab moments, all the best. This is like, there is a proverb in Sanskrit, Alpa Vidya Bhayankari, that means half knowledge is very dangerous. There is a reason why men have sex. There is a reason why men have ejaculation. You don't even know all this nofab and all, what it means. You don't even know the science. You don't even know the... You are giving yourself the validation for your lack of understanding of the world and the science. Don't do that. Don't do that. Understand the science. Whatever you propagate in the social media, people, gullible people, they take up, they follow. That has a consequence. It's okay for you to have your own consequences and suffer. It's not always okay to pick up those, spread those consequences to the others. Alright? Fine. So this is the lack of sleep that happens. The next, when you are going through this irritation phase, no sex, sleep time changed, no care in the evening and the day. Care for a man is not a premium thing. He needs that care. A man needs care because the testosterone has to come down. A man must not be at the high testosterone level. His body gets age very fast. All his functions gets disturbed. They overwork. There is a renal hypertension, the artery that connects your heart to the kidney. There is a renal hypertension when the testosterone remains very high for a long period of time. It damages the kidney of a man. Alright, so care is important. And now the next thing, when you are not getting care, when you are not following a cortisol testosterone cycle, and suddenly when your testosterone is low, you are high in the cortisol, which is picking up a phone call, doing some business dealing, or maybe picking up some silly phone calls with somebody like your mother, doesn't work. And that's the time your mood goes down. And when your mood goes down, your brain starts linking your childhood memory. Okay, when your mood goes down, your brain starts linking all the memories relevant to that mood. And in the childhood, if your mother had a mood swing, which means you came with a toy and showed, Mom, look, I have made this toy. Mom said, oh, okay, like this. Or if you think your mother was a strict mother, go sit there, study. I want you to score good marks. My bad luck. All my friends, their son are so good. You are silly face. So if your mother was like this, always scolding, never shown you that happiness, motherliness, love, and if her face was always, come here, go to school, do your homework, when will you grow up? Or if your mother was absent, if she went to work when you were a child, a male son is very vulnerable. The amount of infantile death of a male child is significantly higher from a female child. A male child is extremely vulnerable because a male is born with XY chromosome and very few genes of the Y chromosomes are active when a male child is born. X chromosome it is born with, but it is suppressed X chromosome. So a male child is born with far less genes active than a female child, and therefore his body is extremely vulnerable. A male child is super dependent on the mother. Super dependent on the mother. And if your mother had gone to work before 3 years, then your brain would pick up a lot of mood swings because it is dependent on the mother up to the age of 5. Male brain in particular, child brain gets extremely irritated, violent, rejected when it doesn't find the mother. When you grow up, you rationalize that, saying that, yeah, my mother was a strict mother. But the brain remembers. So whenever you go through those low moods because of your high testosterone level, you are already aggressive and irritated. It loads all the past memories. And then you start feeling an aggression towards the mother, towards the female. And then if you have your life partner or you are staying with a girl, you just ramp her up. You actually are not ramping your girl. You are ramping your mother. Your frustration is put on the mother, but unfortunately, she is just the object of projection. So because your brain under low mood is loading those childhood memories of rejection, when it felt that the mother rejected you, and then it rationalized that no, I might be a bad child, my mother is good. Male child's brain rationalizes, and when at that time in the low mood, that rationalization gets completely over. And when that rationalization gets over, you feel extremely violent. It's like you want to just kill, and that violence is for the complete femininity. And whomsoever is in front of you, it might be your daughter, it might be your wife, it might be just your girlfriend, you just go and ram them. That is the reason you might observe that during the festival season, your mood swing will be much higher. Why? Because men do not have as much of oxytocin as females. So when there is a festival, everybody is celebrating. You observe as if an attack of mood attack. As if something is something is killing you. It's something like just don't like it. Just like a panic attack, just like your dopamine has fall down suddenly. It's like an attack. And you will spoil everybody's mood. You will react. You will shout out. You will spoil everybody's mood. That's because of prolonged low mood during the festival. Generally, the work is lesser, right? So you have a high testosterone, but you are not working, but you don't have estrogen. You already have high testosterone, but you are not working. But all the other people they have around you, females and other people, they seems to be happy. That is the time when even in the sympathetic dominance you have less work. You start feeling that pain of not healed body. And that's why during the festival, a man's mood swing is extremely higher and he generally ends up spoiling others' days, others' mood. Always be careful of this. This is the reason for mood swing. So whenever the festival comes, before the festival, just have good sleep, have good sex, set your circadian clock. Whenever there is a major festival, whether it is Halloween, whether it is Christmas, whether it is Deepavali, I do not know, Eid, all of you, you have to prepare for the festival by adjusting your circadian clock and then having sex and then having peaceful evening. You get this three done and your mood swing during the festivities will reduce. Otherwise, you'll have a very high mood swing during the festivals. Alright, the last aspect that affects your mood is this. Whenever you are going through this push mode sympathetic dominance for a very long period of time, your brain is in the low mood. And when you scroll the social media and you see a good news, any good news, anyone gives you a good news that I have this done, it triggers you. Your brain, it's not that you are feeling, you may write congratulations, you may write good things, but then your brain will say, no, he did not deserve, you deserve, you are working hard, he's doing something bad, and there is a lot of negative thought that comes into your mind. If you are pushing your body in this sympathetic mode, do not have sex, your sleep timing is completely effed up. If you do not have peace and care in the evening, and if your production timing is not fixed over a 3 to 5 hours time period, if it is scattered, and if your mother in the childhood was absent emotionally, in all this situation, anytime you are going to see a good news of any sort, somebody getting a job, doesn't matter, you do not have to know them, any good news, it's going to pain you. It's going to evoke an envy. It's going to evoke a lot of anger, and that's the reason you must take control, and you must tell people around you not to share any news with you. You must not check WhatsApp statuses. Must not. You must not scroll social media. You must become aware that the good news is going to hurt you because your body is in the high testosterone mode. And the other people seems to be happy. They seems to have a comfort, and so your brain gets irritated by comparing this. And so you have to protect yourself from all this good news. Stop first, heal yourself, and then you will find it normal. And this is the major reason for males envy and anger. That's all for the mood. And I'm pretty sure that you take time to understand. And if you bring your mood back, your sexuality is going to come back. If you bring your mood back, you'll start feeling good, you'll start feeling healed. That's important. It's the Shera season in India. I'm pretty certain that you'll understand this video, this class, you'll take note and you'll take necessary actions to have a good news, good mood, and not spoil the mood of the others. Please take care of your mood, which will take care of your energy regulation, which will take care of your metabolism, which will take care of your sexuality, and all of this together will take care of your masculinity. Thank you for your time, emotion, attention, and focus. And if you want to learn your life in a much deeper way, if you want to understand what is masculinity beyond the lies that people propagate these days, if you want to really understand how men are manipulated and what is truth beyond all this bullshit of the social media, of people who are illiterate, navigating their opinion as science. If you really want to understand the depth of those, I highly recommend you that you take my book, invest your time in reading, and you'll be fascinated to discover and explore the facts about masculinity. The book is available, the Intimacy Laws book is available from our website at a much affordable cost, because we pass on the money we save from save in not giving the commissions to the others. So direct purchase from our shop is going to make it, digital shop is going to make it easy. However, for the international buyers, you can just look into Amazon. That link is also there. And of course, I'm going to drop you a link of detecting both mood swing as well as your erectile dysfunction, as well as your hyposexuality, that is not feeling the sexuality, self-assessment tests. So you can take this self-assessment clinically validated tests and know it by yourself where you stand. That's all for today's episode. Thank you. This is Rupam. See you again tomorrow with yet another episode of Intimacy. Thank you. Have a great day.